This is the Raw Truth Show. Got my boy Jargon and
What
Gibson.
up?
What up?
How y'all doing today, man?
Great, great.
A little
Let's
better
talk
than yesterday.
a little better
worse
than
than
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Oh man. So let's talk about the New York Knicks. And they were embarrassed by the Atlanta Hawks. This loss, believe it or not, was a good thing for the Knicks. Now they know what they do not need to do next season. Number one, Julius Randle being a point forward, no go. No go. And also, Julius Randle always going left. He's got to get that rectified.
What it showed was like that the Knicks really don't have an offense if Julius Randle isn't going. But like with a lot of the games that they've won off effort. And Julius Randle making his shots and them having Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel, his legs working, that helps them. But like because they couldn't rely upon Julius Randle to making shots, they had to rely upon, D Rose the whole series, which didn't work out for them.
Yep. I mean, and so me being a former Laker fan, man, it's much of what I already know Julius Randle to be. Him being a fellow Texan, I'm gonna back Julius Randle. But now I will say this: he's a way better version of what he used to be. But you see some of those same bad habits come right back again, being extremely left-handed. He's so left-handed, he almost right-handed. You understand what I'm saying? So when you are so one-dimensional, what a team that schemes correctly is going to do is take your best attribute away. And we saw that with this series. You take Julius Randle out of the mix as far as being a force multiplier. And as Gibson just said, you put Derrick Rose being the best player on the floor at 156 years old. It ain't happening, bro.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this as a Mitchell Robinson stan. They really missed Mitchell Robinson really badly. Like, they couldn't get rebounds in the last game they played. Capella was taking advantage of every situation. He was getting offensive rebounds. He was just eating. Having Taj Gibson on the floor really hurt them.
Yep.
And you know who was an unsung hero for the Atlanta Hawks? Onyeka
Okongo. Shout out to DKM. That's his boy.
Yeah, man. I know DKM was just turned up seeing him. He was a menace last night. And it just shows you the strength of the 2020 draft class, the same draft class that so-called experts and shines would say it's a weak class, it's not this. They've proven to be better than what people have said. And there was two talent evaluators gave credit, Rashad Phillips and Mike Schmitz. That was about it.
I got to give my boy Quickly from the Knicks credit too, man. He has a future. Like the way Pelicans fans actually excited about now, like, no, Quickly is that guy. He is that guy. He is there for the big moments. He doesn't disappear.
So I got a question. I'm gonna start with Jargon. Who do you think the Knicks have to get this offseason to help improve their team?
Oof. Well, I mean, it kind of goes back to the obvious thing that a lot of us who cover the family say you got to get the ball out of Julius Randle's hand, man. Same demons gonna haunt him, so you got to get a facilitating point guard, whether it's a Kyle Lowry type or Lonzo Ball type. You just got to get some fluidity to that offense. You can't just keep running misdirection, pin down screens and counting on people just to let Julius Randle basically come up on an up screen and just be open and just take that three. Because he shot 40% from three this year, which is very impressive, especially for him.
Yeah.
You're going to have to actually have a offense where you are forcing the will of somebody, not just a quasi, how can I put it, disciplined half court. Like, I mean, because if you watch the Knicks motion, it ain't a lot to it, but it's about misdirection. And that's cool, but you got to have more weapons to maximize on that and have more intricate game plans and sharing the ball better. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I want to give credit to Julius Randle, averaging about 6 rebounds a game. That's good. But for him to be your main facilitator, you're going to have to change that. And so, in short, you gotta have to get a more facilitating point guard to take that load off him when he's not ready, and not Derrick Rose, who's in the twilight of his career. So I think that's the biggest position that needs to be addressed for them to move forward and build off this success.
I'll say this: if there's a way for them to make a trade to get a Brogdon, go for it. They're gonna need a point guard to challenge Trae Young, because Trae Young didn't have to play that much defense. The Knicks was making it really easy for him to just stand there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was just guarding Reggie Bullock, and all Reggie Bullock would do is do a fadeaway three or shoot a three, like attack.
Reggie Bullock.
That's all. But that was
And brothers, what about R.J. Barrett, the so-called player? Remember, Gibson, they said that if R.J. Barrett was in a 2020 draft class, he would have been the number one pick, which we all know that was a lie. He was disappointing.
The Maple Mamba. You mean the Maple Mamba?
I'm not gonna slander him like that. It's his first playoffs. I give him that, but at the same time, he is not a smart offensive player. I think he's gonna be a great defensive player, but like, those layups need to stop. I don't know what he was trying to do. I just think he's just, I don't know, man. I can't criticize him like that, but he wasn't good.
This playoff showed that the Knicks don't have any top-notch players. They have role players, and that's fine. You could win with role players, but it's not going to take you far. They need not only a facilitating guard, they need a star player. Julius can be your number two. He just can't be your number one.
Absolutely.
This is why it's hard for the Knicks this offseason. There isn't a player they can get that would be their number one. There's a player who could be the facilitator, the defender, but not the number one.
Well, I go this far too. I mean, Julius Randle to me is now don't lose me, audience. Not necessarily a Russell Westbrook, but he's a Russell Westbrook type of impact player. And what I mean is, he's gonna fill your box score up. He's a matchup problem. However, you still can bracket him in a series, and you can control the series with the way he plays, because when he's getting his thing on, there's not a lot else going on. So I think DJ, that's a very good point, because you're going to have to change the dynamic of that team as far as the leadership or its facilitation, as I was kind of led in with, to have sustained success. And they're just a long way from that, to be frank. And as Gibson said, they got to where they got playing hard. That is a Tom Thibodeau signature. That's why he brought in his old guys. We're getting the band back together. He brought in Tyus Gibson, Derrick Rose. He bringing his horses in. I'm surprised Jimmy Butler ain't make his way to the Knicks. You know how Thibodeau is. He brings his guys who are going to play the way he likes to play. And the fact of the matter is, it's just not enough talent to grit and grind your way into a championship or a big playoff push, even in the East. You know what I mean? And so it's just, it's expectation got met, in my opinion, based on personnel.
What will make them a lot better, but not like, finals contenders, getting rid of Alfred Payton. No more Alfred Payton. Because in game one, he was such a liability, offensively and defensively. For some reason, everyone's like, oh, he's a defensive player. But Trae Young was carving him. And he wasn't like, the Hawks didn't even have to guard him at the three-point line or mid-range or look to get a layup. He was just doing nothing on the court.
That's been him his whole career, though. He never could really shoot like that. Yeah. I don't get the Alfred Payton hype either, man. I'm with you, bro.
Pelicans fans saying, if you brought in Alfred Payton for Lonzo, nothing would change. That's, oh, man.
Yeah, okay.
Disgusting. I don't watch the Knicks. But I'm watching Knicks all year. I'm like, wait, what?
Gibson, you know how the Pelican media is, man. They despise Lonzo so much they're not even logical.
The thing is, there are fair Pelican podcasts that are very we're getting off tangent. Just Alfred Payton needs to go.
Right. Yeah, Alfred Payton is in the upper room when Jesus comes. He's in that upper room.
He's been worse than Bledsoe this year. And I don't think you guys understand this. He has been worse than Bledsoe this year. Because at least Bledsoe, he's a foul hunter. He can sometimes have good games, barely. Alfred Payton, I have not seen one good game except like once this year.
Exactly. Hey, bro, as a Knicks fan, Gibson, would you say this season was a success or a failure? How they looked in the playoffs?
It was an extreme success.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
thinking, I was thinking they were going to get Cade. That's what I thought they were going to do. I didn't. The way Randall was playing last year with Fizz, even though that was a terrible coach too. I mean, it goes to show what a good coach can do to a team.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, put them in their right place, not overthink it, play the good players the long amount of minutes, and you'll win games. Not hard math. Now, I don't think Thibs is a championship coach. Most of his star players end up getting really tired, during the playoffs. But I mean, he's a winning coach.
Yeah, I think we've got enough film on Tom Thibodeau to know that the rubric is you're going to get your guys to the first level of success, which is playoff contention. Which I mean, I think to Gibson's point, I mean this is an extremely successful season because the Knicks ain't been to playoffs since 2013.
8 years, I think.
Yeah, bro. Like the city needed it, so I'm not taking it away, even though if it's enough film that to show that Tom Thibodeau's way is going to burn your players out when it's time, and they're not going to scheme well enough to compensate for tired legs, as it were.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
watching that made me hate that LaMelo Ball didn't fall to the Knicks. That bothered me. I was like, man, if LaMelo was on this team, he'd be killing Trey right now in the pick and rolls. He would just be killing Trey because Trey would be too small to guard him. And instead, I have to watch Reggie Bullock and Alfred Payton. I have to watch these dudes. And then D Rose has to be their savior. And in the last game, his legs was tied. He was looking, I think he got injured.
Yeah, that would have been something fun. What about Obi Toppin? I know he didn't get the stats and the accolades, but do you think his game will grow in time, or do you think he'll be nothing but a role player?
Yeah, he's a success story. He's already better than Knox.
That's facts.
He showed up in the playoffs. The regular season, I didn't really see much, enough to be critical of him. But he showed up in the playoffs where he made some timely threes. He's athletic. He's not a dumb player. I like him.
I think Obi was efficient, for not getting that many minutes. He was fine.
Yeah.
I think you file him under the category of a normal rookie, like because we get so jaded by like guys like LaMelo who are force multipliers, guys like Edwards. We hold him to a higher standard, but he's a rookie, like you said. He's better than Knox. Kevin Knox was supposed to be the guy. What 2-3 years ago he's drafted. We see he's better than him. It's okay. I'm not gonna cast any aspersions at all on Obi, man. I think he's fine for a rookie. It's just that's what you expect to get out of a rookie with eyes wide open, bushy tail, as they call it.
And DJ. Oh, sorry.
No, what was you gonna say, brother?
And DJ. The only thing I'm going to be critical of Tibbs was that he didn't really test out any lineups this year, right. Because then when they got to the playoffs, he could only go to what he knew. I'm not going to say Frank Ntilikina was going to be good, but he should have got minutes. And just to guard Trey. I mean, yeah, that one, you don't bring him in the end of the game with the cold, he didn't even play the whole game to expect him to guard Trey in the end. I feel like he would have at least, you could have played him off the ball. I think he could shoot a 3. He could play with Derrick Rose. He could have defended Trey Young as best as he could.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's why I believe that Obi Toppin should have had more minutes, at least 15 to 18 minutes or 20 minutes, if that, make it work. But one thing I saw from Obi Toppin that I knew that he will have a long career. I don't know if he'll be an all-star or not just yet. But when he had that block and then he ran up and down the court, one of those playoff games, and then he did a finisher with that showed me that he has the smarts, the wherewithal, and the awareness of going to going from defense to offense.
Yeah, and
It's
I mean, and
skill.
and he doesn't do too much. And he's the exact type of rookie I like. Like, he doesn't do too much. He doesn't dribble the ball to death.
Mm-hmm.
He passes it when he knows he doesn't see an opportunity, and he moves. He cuts. He's the type of guy the Knicks they did right. That's all I can say.
That's the kind of guy like y'all haven't seen since like Landry Fields. A guy who can kind of fill the gaps in of what you need. Because the Knicks players that you feel like you come to the Knicks, it's candy time now. Let me get my stats up. Oh, it's the Garden. You know, you got that all aura. And you need guys who I call them glue guys who
Yeah.
can just fit into whatever you're doing. They know basketball, they know spacing. And yeah, I agree with that. Obi, God damn it, Obi Toppin comparison perfectly. Yeah. And those are the kind of guys you got to draft to make a good team. Like Tayshaun Prince, anybody remember that name? He didn't come in a world beater, but he came as an essential piece. And you need those kind of guys.
Yeah. And to go to the other rookie that I feel like the Knicks, every time their late picks always hit for some reason. Quickly. No one saw him and do this in Kentucky. I don't know how that Kentucky coach uses his players, but he seems to like minimize their talent for some reason, so they fall. But like quickly, the shot he has, the floater. I don't think he's going to be a point guard in his career, but I think he's going to be like an off the bench scoring machine, a Lou Will type,
Mm-hmm.
who can I think could be a better defender. Like I'm just a fan of that guy. I'm a fan of that guy.
It's always
you
the lane
imagine-
for those, man.
It is. And could you imagine, and we bigged up Obi Toppin. We gave him his flowers, but could you imagine if the Knicks would have got Halliburton and then still got Quickly, of course?
I noticed about the sound sacrilegious, but I'm happy the Knicks didn't take Halliburton.
Interesting. Please tell me.
Halliburton doesn't really fix the Knicks' problems, so to say. Like he's like a worse defensive Lonzo Ball, who could shoot threes here and there, like who's a better shooter. But like I'm not saying Lonzo Ball would like, but I'm saying like I think the scheme would have changed a lot more.
Right.
And we wouldn't have seen the Randall we see today if they would have got a point guard this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying because I don't think he would have fit. I just think that in order to see what Randall is, not getting Halliburton allowed that.
So pretty much if he's not going to bring you what Lonzo brings you. So if Lonzo's with the Knicks, his defensive prowess elevates the Knicks even more than what they are with his passing ability.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that with Halliburton, but you will have that with Zoe, who has proven it in his career. And I think Zoe's going to break out his fifth year. One of my subs have always been saying this for years since I've been doing YouTube, that Lonzo's best year would be his fifth year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would work well with the Knicks because Lonzo, as much as people say he's limited offensively, which sometimes he looks for his shots. He doesn't do too much. He plays within his game, which is what the Knicks need. And he's starting to hit mid-range shots now. And if they can do more pick and roll for him instead of doing point, Randall all the time, he can get his mid-ranges off. And they have real centers on that team.
Yeah, and I look at it this way too. You got a guy, you have a coach who's more of an old school coach, and Lonzo at heart is an old school type of player. So you're gonna mesh well with that. And like I told people, man, it's like I know Zoe had a lot of hype and ballyhoo on the front end, but most players you don't know who they are until about year 4, year 5. That's when you get a real scope. Now it spoils you see the Luka Doncic's of the world, the Trey Youngs of the world who come out hot. But really, year 4, year 5 is what you know you got out of a guy. And I think Lonzo is trending perfectly. Now, not as being LaMelo, per se, but I think he's going to do really well with the Knicks because he's a no-nonsense type of guy. Tibbs is a no-nonsense type of coach. And you don't have to worry about the conflict of personalities. And like you're saying, Gib, like it's perfect. It's perfect. And I can't wait to see it, man.
And he doesn't have to worry about his other teammates not playing good defense or if they set a pick on him that his center doesn't drop every single time.
And man, bros, I know we're talking about the Knicks, but I have to point this out. I would be so happy if Lonzo's with the Knicks or the Clippers, because I know that he'll have teammates where he doesn't have to help out so much or leave his man to cover a situation. Remember that one game, I forgot, where Lonzo, all he had to do was stay with his man, and if the other guy got Bledsoe lost his man, so Lonzo ran over there to help, but it was too late. See, you play with the Knicks with Coach Thibodeau and with the Clippers, you're not going to see that shit.
And you don't have to worry about when Lonzo gets benched, that the New York Knicks bench gives up a lead, and then they blame Lonzo for when he's cold in the fourth because he sat too long for the game.
Yeah, but he gonna be on that floor. That's for damn sure.
Tibbs gonna play him. That's the thing I do worry about with Lonzo, like with Tibbs.
And I'll say this too. This is the perfect, if Lonzo Ball was a stock, this would be the perfect time to buy him. This would be like the Dogecoin when it first was like 0.1%, because his stock is not as high as it's normally been. Meaning expectation won't be unrealistic, because we know the New York media can be brutal. So you get him now when his stock isn't his highest, when he doesn't come in as the face of the Knicks. Because we all know how efficient Lonzo is now. So you buy him right now, knowing where he's going to be. And when you start succeeding, it's going to be perfect. And I'm speaking more, I guess, with the ball fan perspective. It's going to be perfect because it's not going to be too much pressure, as all y'all like to say. It's pressure. Yeah. It's going to be a perfect situation because it's going to look so organic. It's going to look so good. And Lonzo going to come out like a phoenix raising out the ashes, as they say. He's going to look really good with this offense and with this coach. Now, I know with Julius Randle, the first go-round. Well, no, he didn't play with Randle. But he was after Julius Randle era. They got rid of him.
Oh no, he played with Randle.
The first year. Okay, the first year. I'm sorry.
Luke Walton decided to sit Randle for Larry Nance.
Yeah. When Zoe came, man, that team was just a mess, man. It was like 3-point forwards, like B.I., freaking Clarkson, man. It was a damn mess. But now that, their games have matured, Randle is okay with playing off ball, as Tibbs has probably made him do. I think it's going to be a beautiful renaissance, man, if they get to come back together. And then the stock that is Lonzo Ball is going to go high. And, the things will fall into place the correct way, as it were, with now that their games have matured, reunited. So I think that'd be a really good thing from a storyline perspective as well, also with the team camaraderie standpoint.
I would also really like them to, because they have, 50-something million this offseason. They have enough to get Lonzo and still get a star. So it's like Lonzo isn't like, he is still a priority for the Knicks, but he doesn't have to be the only priority for the Knicks, which I love. I do think they should get Lowry.
I'm with that.
Not because, Lonzo's not ready or Lonzo can't be a point guard or any of that bullshit. Because Lonzo is still 23. Lowry is a vet. You do need vets in the playoffs who have playoff experience. So if Lonzo were to go cold in the playoffs, you still have Lowry. Like, you have that guy who thinks collapse. Instead of it being Derrick Rose, it's Lowry.
Well, let me say this. Y'all ain't getting no goddamn stars, so y'all can hang that up.
Let me dream. It's either a Brogdon trade or a Lowry trade. And I heard some Knicks fans say Dragic from no, let's not do that.
Y'all ain't getting no star, bro.
Hey, it sound like Martin. You know how Martin on the show said, "You ain't got no job. You ain't getting no star.
You ain't getting no star, Tommy."
Man, I just feel like we just need a point guard and another like point guard, shooting guard type, just to make the Knicks watchable and great. Because I'm gonna be honest, they were great this year, but they were a little unwatchable.
Yeah.
They were.
Go ahead, bro.
Nah, what you saying?
No, I'm saying, now I will say this. They've been the most watchable that y'all been since like the Melo days. Because I do like, again, the pin down, off ball, and the dribble, the goddamn dribble handoff that y'all run up top. That's kind of reminiscent of like what the Celtics used to run back in the day. So it shows Tibb is kind of sticking to his guns. Because if you watch the Celtics, they ran a lot of dribble handoff, man, with Ray and Paul Pierce up top. But just the caveat they threw in with Randall being, basically the sneaky backside guy.
Yeah.
And I just think next year the NBA is going to definitely, they always adjust after a year. So I wonder if you're going to be able to get away with that because people are going to stop lacking off of Randall on that backside where y'all got that front with motion. So I'm very interested to see how y'all evolve with that. But yeah, y'all ain't getting no star player though.
I'm not pro tanker here, but I am worried that we missed out on our chance to get an actual star. Like every team has one. Trae Young for Atlanta Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
The Hornets, LaMelo can turn into one. Zion, the New Orleans. Like I look at Randall, I'm saying he's a good second guy, but like, are we gonna be the Magic of this era?
Magic what?
Like the team that makes the playoffs, but that's all.
Probably.
I mean, like I'm like New York City has the market, but I'm trying to see what star is a free agent this year. Actual star.
No, I can't think of one. I mean, even if it was, would they want to come to y'all? Let's be real.
I mean, no.
Let's be real.
But Gibson, here's what the Knicks have that other teams don't. They have a culture, they have an image, they have roles that they give to their players. Every player on the Knicks has a specific role, and it's understood. The only thing they're missing is a key facilitator. That's all they're missing.
I'm just laughing because in my head because I'm like the Pelicans really had a chance to get Tibbs. He was like there, and they get Stan Van Gundy, who if you heard him talk on TV with Mitt, like he wasn't saying shit. You could have just got Tibbs. It was right there.
I just want to know what secrets do the Van Gundy brothers have on the NBA where they just allowed to always be thrown in the hat of the name of potential coaches when they've done nothing. I just don't get it, man. I don't get it.
And Pelican media try to make excuses for him. And 313 pointed this out on YouTube, like on Twitter. Did anyone watch how Stan Van Gundy ran the Pistons? Like the guard they had, who wasn't really that bad, who ended up leaving to go to Lithuania to play with, I forgot that team's name, the green team. But like he was good still.
Zalgiris, yeah. Zalgiris. That's the first team that LaMelo played.
Yeah, and the point guard was not old or washed up. He was still good. It was just because Van Gundy misused him, and it was just the way Van Gundy was like just playing his players. It's like old style defense. It's just it's not going to work. You have to guard the perimeter. You can't just go, lock the paint out. That's all. It's like no, you have. This is a 3-and-D league now. There's nothing but threes. What are you doing? I just think David Fizdale saw another, an ex-media guy and was like, I'm going to take you in. Boom.
You mean David Griffin?
Yeah, these are mostly David Griffin's choices. This is like, people better not think this is Trey Langdon's choices. It's not.
No. Another question. Who do you think the Knicks should select in the 2021 draft class that can help?
Trades. They have Tom Thibodeau. I'm going to say this right now. There's a certain level of when you become a certain team where picks become useless to a certain point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Your bench is packed. You already have a good rookie coming off the bench. You already have sort of a starting. You have enough cap. You need to make trades.
That's fair.
Also, the 2021 draft, after like the top 10, I don't see anybody that the Knicks should get. They have the forwards. The point guards in this draft, after like Cade and a few up of the top, just where are they? Shai Cooper, who's like what, 6 foot maybe? You want a small guard to try to play Tibbs defense?
I'm with that. I mean, Tibbs is again a grit and grind kind of coach. So to succeed with that, you got to bring in guys to buy in. And typically speaking, you don't bring young guys to fulfill that methodology. So I'm with that all the way. I don't see the draft benefiting them.
if Davion Mitchell somehow falls, Davion Mitchell from Baylor falls down that low, okay, great. You got a guy who can play defense. He's 6'2". He could shoot the three. He's not the best, passer, but you still got a guy. There you go. But after that, I'm cool.
Well, you know how the NBA heads think the likelihood of a national champion dropping that far down is probably unlikely, man. So
yeah, this draft is hilarious, though. This draft proves how people look at the tournament and take too much from it.
Absolutely.
Franz Wagner, Mo Wagner's brother is like top 10.
Oh,
I watched Michigan games. Where?
Oh no.
Hey, Gibson brings a great point up. That's why I do not put a lot of stock on the tournament. Damn that. I'll give you 3 names that prove my theory right. Dame Lillard, Ben Simmons. Damn, I forgot my third. Oh, Joel Embiid. Guys who did not have great tournaments per se. And I was like, dog. Because people my age, I'm 37, tend to put so much stock on tournament success. That's why guys like Bryce Drew, I'll throw a name out there way back. The Rockets drafted him because we did it at Valparaiso. Man, damn all that. What do you do the whole season? Like, this tournament is inflated. It's emotional. We get it. But like Julius Hodge, I'll throw another name out there. Phenomenal in the tournament. He was damn near unplayable in the NBA. So I hate when people put so much stock in. And Dick Vitale does this shit all the time. Hypes up these guys. And I hate it. It's like, dog, who cares? Can you adjust to the next level? Because Ben Simmons, as you know, didn't play the tournament. Dame Lillard never made it to the conference tournament championship at Weber State. So, like, damn all that. How do you fare for the next level? So, to your point, the Baylor guard, he's not going to be there because you know how the hype machine moves. But it's unfortunate because it's funny how everybody dog piles on success. And you've seen it doesn't translate next level.
Like, they were like, thank goodness that Cade is like, just looks like an all-star already. Like, he looks like a guy who's going to be giving you 20 points in his first NBA year. Because if it wasn't for that, they would have been doing the same thing to him. They were, we don't know about Cade's passing. He had more turnovers than passes. His teammates couldn't make a shot.
Yeah.
Teams would, like, load up on him. And he had turnovers. Of course he had turnovers. He's how young, getting loaded. Like, there was 2 guys guarding him, and they didn't worry about the other guys making a shot. Because they knew their teammate was either going to do a dumbass layup or miss a 3 completely. Who'd have to worry about?
That's fair.
I'll tell you something about Cade Cunningham. From watching him, if he's around a team and it's built around 3-point shooters, you'll have something like really, really. I think he's going to put up points anyway. He's going to have the usage rate. He's a big dual forward guard kind of guy.
I'm about to say this. I think he's going to be I think he's a star. I think he's going to be a star player his first year. But you need a point guard next to him. You need a point guard next to him.
Yes,
not because he doesn't have the talent. Like, he can pass, but his ball handling ability is questionable.
Can you believe that people? And I'm not just saying this because I'm a fan of LaMelo, but I watched Cade, and they was trying to say that he's the best point guard in years, and I don't see him as a point guard. Like Rashad Phillips had it right. He's a dual forward who can play multiple positions.
I will say this. I think he's a better prospect than LaMelo, but not a better point guard than LaMelo. Like, we got to really – I just think because his mid-range, the way he can attack the rim, all that stuff makes him great. But point guard? No.
I'll go. His game is more fluid. I'll go. I'll stop the train right there. But I think LaMelo Ball is going to be one of the best players we've seen in a minute because he's only going to get better because he has the audacity to think that he can be better. When a lot of guys are mentally, which you'll see a lot of NBA guys, I mean, they'll talk all that shit. They're kind of in the box, man. Like, it's a certain way you conform to playing basketball. And with LeVar has put into him, he's only going to think because, well, let me bring it this way. His dad was saying, somebody's got to be better than Michael Jordan. Why not you? A lot of guys are not taught basketball that way. Me being a former Division I player, I never thought of myself I would be the next Kobe Bryant. Even though I love Kobe. I never thought that way because I was like, what does the coach want? Let me do what the coach wants. And a lot of guys don't have the audacity to think outside that box. LaMelo is not constrained by mental limitations.
But
So I would think that's what I would say.
But that's why I said best prospect. I don't think he's going to be a better NBA player. I just think he's a better prospect, though. But
what's to say? He got a tighter game, so I'll go with that. But,
yeah.
But, I was saying, K's coming from Texas, so you already know me and Jargon, we Texas boys. So
yeah,
we want him to be successful, but we're just saying, I don't know. I think he'll be really, really good, and he will put numbers his rookie year. He definitely will get the usage rate he needs. He's big, he's strong. He knows how to create a shot. That's what's going to help Cade Cunningham. He's clutch.
If Moses Moody could fall,
from Arkansas? From Arkansas, Moses Moody?
Yeah. If he falls to 19, yes. But I feel like the Knicks, especially with a guy like Tibbs is not like playing his rookies. No matter how good they are. Matter how good they are. But he doesn't
absolutely.
Like and the Knicks are already kind of like a team that have a lot of their questions answered in the bench role and the supporting cast role.
Absolutely.
So it's like just try to trade to Pacers Brogdon or try to get a guy who like, oh man, our team's, we don't need him. Try to get TJ Warren and Brogdon. Try to get Brogdon. Listen, I'm a
little scared, man. So do you think Cade will go to the Rockets?
There's a good chance he may,
man.
I
hate that for Cade. I
want him to go to KC. I know I'm from Houston. It's all love from H-Town. But if Cade goes to OKC, the draft picks they're going to have and the leverage they're going to be able to build the team around him so talented, it's going to blow the league away.
I do not want the NBA to reward the Rockets or OKC for shit.
They were clearly tanking.
They are clear. Not only that, they have the cheapest owners. They should be banned from getting first-round picks. You gave away Harden for Serge Ibaka? And at the time, it was a dumb trade at the time. No one thought he was going to be an all-star at the time. But because you were being cheap, no one should give you that. No one, you can't, you should, no. Also, the Rockets, their owner, sucks. He does not deserve anything.
Hey, man, if the 76ers are allowed to do what they did, I'm not casting in. And I hate the Rockets. I'm from Houston. I hate the Rockets. I mean, hey, if the Sixers were able to do it, who am I to say? Rockets can't get rewarded.
The team I want to get the second pick is the Wolves because I want chaos to happen.
Oh, boy.
No, because then they have to trade a player. Then they have to trade one.
That's one team I'm over, man. How many top draft picks you need, bro?
I mean, the ending of the year is going to fool them, just like how the ending of the Pelicans year is fooling them with nah. They're like, oh my God, we're actually a good team. It's like, no, teams just don't play up you. They don't give a shit anymore.
Now that I think about it, both OKC and the Houston Rockets, yeah, that's not a good thing because they are cheap.
And do they have floor spaces for a Cade to prosper or an actual center? I mean, wait, Rockets do.
Yeah, they got Christian Wood, who they pretty much.
Okay, and OKC has that center who played for UCLA, and they were like, he's not bad. So okay, it's not a box.
If I'm the Timberwolves, and let's say they're the number 2 selection, right? Evan Mobley, you can put him at the 4. He's that versatile. You have a versatile twin towers.
But are they that smart though? They could have took Melo and done the same thing and try to play him with the other guard, but they were like, no, we have too many guards. Do you think they're gonna?
The reason why they didn't get LaMelo is because D'Angelo Russell was out there.
You see what I'm saying? That's not a smart team. You're listening to D'Angelo Russell,
right?
Who didn't win you anything.
I'm like, what has D'Angelo Russell done for you to say, oh, I don't want LaMelo on the team?
He's an inefficient chucker who is okay at passing, but even they hyped up his Nets run. He had a team. Let's not confuse that.
Shit, yeah.
Dinwiddie. He had
Well, yeah,
Allen,
he had Levert. He had,
Levert,
he had a team.
and
Well, but
Levert
you
was.
got go ahead. Go ahead, Gibson. My bad.
No, I'm just trying to get off that. I don't think he's that great of a player, and everyone hyped him up to the point it was crazy.
I never did. Again, I'm a Laker fan, but his stock was as high as it's ever been that year because the optics were he got them to the playoffs. He was an all-star. He was, basically
How many games did
marginalized.
they win that year?
Barely above 500.
I mean, like
That's the caveat, though.
Like, oh, he got them, and yeah, like who are the other teams that were competing that weren't tanking?
I'm with you. So the stuff you're saying is what I said because basically people use D. Russell to basically marginalize Lonzo. Like, oh, the Lakers gave up Lonzo for this dude, and he went and dude. I was like, no, stop.
I'm gonna be realized. D'Lo is what is he on defense? What do they call it? A cone. Like what he gives you offensively is not that. Like everyone just likes the way his fancy shots that he takes, and look at that shot he took, and it's like you look at his numbers and you actually watch the game, you're like, oh gosh, like because I want to ask the question: how do you have all that talent in the Wolves and you're still one of the worst NBA teams?
There you go
in the NBA. That should tell you something.
Because it wasn't Wiggins' fault. You can't blame Wiggins no more.
I mean, Wiggins kind of proved though that he's a role player though, and that he should
agreed. But you can't blame him for lack of success if you bring in Anthony Edwards, who's coming out there and doing exceptionally well for a rookie, and you're still not getting the results.
Anthony Edwards, man, he's the reason they were winning those games later in the year.
All 17 of them games they won.
Like when he started getting more efficient and started shooting more, teams couldn't stop him. You can't stop that kind of motor.
And what does that tell you? A guy who doesn't even like basketball primarily. Been the best thing you've had in your program the last 15 some odd years.
But the reason why
that's tough.
That's the reason why I'm questioning them on them picking Evan Mobley is because if they pick Evan Mobley, I don't think they're a smart enough team to go, oh, is that us giving up on Cat? Like let's be honest, Cat defensively, he's one of the reasons why I go like, you can't have a center that's not that great defensively. That's dumb. Like, I don't care how great offensively you are. You can't have a center who brings almost nothing to you defensively.
No, that's fair.
I think NBA fans are so in love with offense that they don't realize that if you have a center who's just good on offense, what are you winning with that?
It's like that Enos Cantor disease. So I'm with that.
I don't want to insult Cat like that.
I mean, the same archetype is what you're saying. Like, I get it.
The only center who he's not even bad on defense, but who can get away with that is Jokic, because he's not only a good off, he can pass. He's just he's the engine of their team. Absolutely. That's why he can get away with that.
And let's not marginalize him. He's an MVP caliber player.
Yeah, so. That's what I'm saying. He should win the MVP this year. So
there's a few other things to bring to the table to the discussion.
So that, I mean, it makes sense. But I think that the Knicks should look to see what the Mavs. I mean, the Wolves would do with their pick. Do with their players. They should look to. So much as I'm not a fan of D'Lo, what's D'Lo's contract?
You ready for my answer?
Yeah.
Nothing. They're gonna do nothing with it. Just because, man, some franchises are just bad franchises. Just it is what it is. When they wake up in the morning, they make coffee the wrong way. They get off on the wrong side of the bed. It's just some people curse, bro. And the Wolves are cursed. Sorry.
Same thing. What I thought about the Hornets is like. You knew they weren't high on LaMelo because they didn't do nothing with the centers in the beginning of the year.
That's facts.
Like, if you thought he was going to be good, why would you roll out Cody Zeller and Bismack as your centers? They can't jump. Well, anytime LaMelo gives them an open pass, all the defender had to do was sort of frighten Bismack, and he could even jump over him.
I like Bismack. Yeah, I don't like him for a young team, man. But Bismack got to come in on a veteran team and do his.
He needs to come as an assistant coach and not taking any cap space out of him.
You playing so bad, you don't need to take none.
No.
He can't take that $1 million out of that cap. They need all of that cap.
No, Bismo sucks, man. I like.
I want him to get Josh Hart.
I like his mode. He sucks, but I like it.
Come on, Brian. We know he got butterfingers.
Yeah, I want them to use the mid-level exception to get Josh Hart this summer. I really do.
Josh Hart's a frustrating player, man.
He's, he can shoot, but he can't.
Yeah.
But he's an end, like he's just a beast. But
he's an almost guy, bro. He's an almost guy. We call him. He's an almost.
But he would like an almost guy coming off your bench, though.
Well, he's only come off benches, so that this is what he does.
But I can't listen. Stan Van Gundy, having him come off the bench for
Bro, he's an almost guy, man.
It's disgusting to me. So
family. You know a girl who just almost fine? Like she almost got her ass, and she almost got them titties. Like she almost pretty, just like.
We call that.
I would want him taking the spot of Cody Martin. So,
what'd you say, DJ?
I said we got a term for that. We call it butterhead. Everything good but her
butterhead, man.
Josh
butterhead, dog.
Josh Hart can't stop fouling 3-point shooters. So
this dude with smoke open layups, dog. Josh Hart is a very frustrating guy to be a fan of, man.
Because he's valuable, but you're like,
it's just like, God damn it, why'd I like you again?
Well, he always fouled a 3-point shooter.
Always. And if he asks for anything over 10 or 9 million this summer, he's gonna any NBA team that signs him today is
he gonna get it. But my thing is, I ain't never seen nobody smoke a layup like Josh Hart, bro. That's the layup smoking dude, dog.
Guess what the owner gonna be when Josh Hart asks for $10 million? They gonna be like, shit.
That's why the Pelicans are in a really shitty position, because they took on a Steven Adams contract and a Bledsoe contract, and now they have to get rid of two good players. Good players.
That's fair.
That's nasty. That's nasty work to me. And then I'm tired of Pelicans fans. So I'm talking to you Pelicans fans. Why are you making excuses for Steven Adams? He was worse than last year's center. Who's a backup in the Jazz, because that's his value. But you can't even get a starter valuable player now. Like, that's nasty. Steve, like when they were in OKC, which I could tell they don't watch the games. Nerlens Noel in OKC was better than he had to play the playoffs. Steven Adams was useless. Oh, he can get rebounds. Andre Drummond can get rebounds. What does that mean?
Shit, what's the name? Jahlil Okafor wasn't bad for him 2 years ago.
Oh, God. Saying that name just, man. Anytime, like, here's something I hate about certain media people and fans. When they make, if a player's not good, I notice they get more compliments than an okay player would get because they're less critical. It's like they talk about a retarded kid. You can't be too rude to him. Like, you have to give him a compliment.
That's funny. That's funny.
Like, because I remember they were like, oh, Okafor, I mean, he brings something offensively. I'm like, does he really, though? Like, a few layups, and then he goes a little too far and then tries to do, like, a spin move and then misses the layup completely. Like, what does he really bring, though? Oh, Enes Kanter, he wasn't bad on Boston. What? He wasn't bad on the Knicks. So I remember this guy, a media guy, was like, oh, he should have been playing over Mitchell Robinson. That made more sense. I was like, no, what?
Yeah, that's a stretch right there.
Disgusting. Media's disgusting to me.
Well, and I want to go to this point, too, with Jahlil Okafor and Justice Winslow. Again, man, you can't go off tournament success going next level, man. Winslow, another Houston kid who I like, man. His father coached at Prairie View University where I was at for like a few weeks, and then he went back to U of H. So, I got a connection through him, 1 degree separated. So I want to see him do well. But when I watched him at Duke, I'm like, nah. Okafor, I'm not gonna lie, he tricked me. I thought he was gonna be, a Tim Duncan-esque guy, and I was wrong.
I'm about to tell and I gotta tell DJ this because I think DJ's sending the false message to these Hornets fans.
Oh shit!
Please do not ever play Vernon Carey. I don't think you. I think. I don't. I know. I understand that he's better. I think he's better. And if you're tanking, you should play him some minutes. but he's not. He's
Come
terrible
on, man. He's
defensively,
not.
bro.
Boy, you about to
If you
alienate
watch
yourself.
those Duke games really closely and he had to play a capable big, he was getting killed. That's the reason he dropped.
If you're a Hornets fan listening, disregard Gibson. Gibson's very knowledgeable. But on Bird and Carey, I disagree.
You should. I literally called him Okafor before he even got drafted because there was Knicks fans saying they wanted him. He is Okafor. He is a good shooting, mid-range shooting Okafor. You do not want him on the court. I mean, the Brooklyn game, I give them that. They weren't playing that good of defense. But after that, you saw what happened when they started challenging him.
Oh, man. Come on, man.
You see his feet work? You see his feet work. Like Kai Jones is and that's in this draft. He's a project. He's not going to be that good this year. Mm-hmm. But you could see him move his feet when defenders are moving around in the perimeter. Gurn and Carey is all you do is one dribble. You got him off. Like I still to this day don't know why they didn't get Xavier Tillman or a decent center or just they had a chance to get shooters, man. And they picked two centers who no one wanted.
I forgot how bad y'all are drafted. I got caught up in Thibodeau. The Knicks, y'all just traditionally are bad drafters, and y'all's fans.
The Knicks are a better late team drafter than the Hornets.
It's no hype at that point. You going off your draft board.
Oh, the Knicks picking the top of the draft is a nightmare.
Terrible. It's a fucking nightmare.
Knox,
Frank Ntilikina at 6. Was Frank Ntilikina at 6, right?
Yeah.
At 6. Frank Ntilikina was one of the players that made me scared to ever think about European players. It was only until LaMelo went to like Europe that I started going like, oh, they don't all suck. Oh, maybe I should harder. I just.
That's a rough one right there. What they would try to do is recreate that Tony Parker thing, and it failed miserably.
That kid from that played LaMelo when he just came off the plane to play Lithuanian team, Roku Javanas or some shit like that.
He was on that Zagor's team.
Yeah, he's getting drafted this year, and I think he's going to be an okay pro.
Yep.
But because of Frank, he's in the second round because of Frank. I blame Frank for all of these dudes.
You blame Frank for everything.
Look, people looked at Frank and said, "Oh shit, he gets 6 points." Like, first of all, if you look at his stats, not impressive. But you can always throw that to the Euro League. When you watch a game he played in France, you're like, "What did they see that I didn't see?" Like.
Gibson, why the Knicks fans, and I'm not saying all, but why, like the Frank Ntilikina fans, I got to say Frank Ntilikina.
Oh, my God.
When he get 8 points and 5 assists, boy, they are cheering like.
He got his first 20 points in his third year of his career, and everyone's like, oh, my God, he's evolving. It's like, dude.
No.
No. And it's upsetting because I remember there was a debate saying, should we trade Frank Mitchell and a pick for LaMelo? And everyone was like, oh, why would we do that? Why would we do that for a bum-ass player? And I'm just sitting there like, what? Why would we trade Frank and a pick? And even Frank got a pick, they were like, nah. I was like, you're on crack. You're on crack. Man, now look at them. He doesn't even get minutes in the playoffs. He's not even getting off the bench.
Well, I want to say two things. One, that point guard is Zagor's. Back when I wasn't taking YouTube serious, I spoke about him. He kind of got that Gordon Dragic mold. And when people saying that LaMelo didn't play nobody, like, no, that dude is dude you're going to hear later. So it's cool. It's good to hear that he's getting there.
He's got drama, though. Like, they were talking about he has drama at home or something. Like, so that's kind of why he's on. The NBA scouts doing too much psychotherapy bullshit.
Yeah.
People's minds and shit.
That's fair.
I really and also, man, scouts. I really do wish though that LaMelo, that they think he had an attitude problem, was real. I just wish he dropped. I really wish that people thought LaMelo sucked so bad that he fell to the Knicks. I just wish that they saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish.
I wouldn't mind him playing for y'all. Like to me, I'm not gonna lie. Y'all are some of the worst fans on the planet, man. I really do hate. I like the fact that you are an objective Knicks fan, because one of my good friends, Dane Irvin, man, great talent evaluator. He speaks about New York in such a fashion. I'm like, dog, nobody views y'all that way. He's like, oh, it's the mecca of basketball, and blah blah blah. And we see on draft
California's the
day,
mecca of basketball.
oh man, Knicks fans are the worst. Y'all the worst as a collective. Y'all
California's
the
the mecca of
worst.
basketball. How many New York basketball NBA players are there really compared to the California?
Come on, man.
But to be real though, I would like LaMelo with the Knicks would have been better with LaMelo with the Hornets. It would have been.
I'm with that.
Because Julius Randle wouldn't be injured for half the year. And if LaMelo were going to be injured, they would be able to not fall completely off the planet. It would have worked well. It would have been nice. You know, he would actually have a Mitchell Robinson and a Nerlens Noel instead of, I'm not even going to say the names, but just you'd also have IQ coming off the bench instead of Cody Martin. And he would have a coach who's not like, you know, let me sit down my best point guard for
20 games, pretty much.
Frank Ntilikina.
Yeah.
So I can get defense. Let me bring him back in. Oh, let's bring back Franklin. No. He wouldn't do that.
Frank Ntilikina, man.
Man, this was a great show. We will be doing this more times than not, man.
Yeah.
I like this format.
Yeah.
It's a good flow, man.
Evolve. RJ will evolve next year. That's all I have to say.
Before we go.
I just want to say, man, it's good talking with Gibson, man. I've heard you on the channel a lot, man. So it's a good flow, man. Like to DJ's just last proclamation. So I like doing these little ciphers, man. We just hoop minds, talk basketball, and we go, on our own opinions, but we debate and we come as men, no crazy extra stuff, and we leave the conversation just as good as we entered. So this is always a good thing on my part, man. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks.
I really love it because I get to actually talk to someone who played basketball in their lives and actually knows what the fuck they're talking about, instead of me who I know somewhat something, but I wouldn't ask me to draw up a play. So it's really nice having that like type of knowledge around to talk to.
No doubt. And you see, even when we disagree on stuff, man, it's always trying to listen to the other person's view. We'll joke about it. We'll laugh about it. That's what sports conversations are supposed to be. None of this beta energy, just whining just because you disagree with something. This was fun, and we're definitely going to do more of these shows.
That's good. And as y'all see, I'll call Lonzo the king of 16, but I will back him in conversations, you weirdos. That's what I got.
Oh, Jargon, man. Yeah, people doing that. I'm like,
weirdos.
JBA and everything.
Well, get your ass out my inbox.
Yeah, I got criticized for that. Didn't call him a king. No, you Stephen A. tactics. I'm like, what? How?
Oh, man. Good times.
Well, yeah, man. You guys, man, y'all bringing the heat. We're going to do some more of these. I'm DJ's Raw Cut Truth. Peace.